As if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced.
This is just the beginning.
May the Force be with you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Jedi Network. I am BX Sports Jedi Kev. In with me, my partner, PGA Chris. Chris, what's going on, man?
What's up, brother? What's up? Yeah, I'm here with my guy, my main man Kev here. We're gonna, we kind of talked about this yesterday. We kind of had a plan to kind of do something like this. But man, did Ariel Hawaii make things a little more juicy? So I'm always, as usual, thankful to be here with you guys, with Kev to talk about stuff like this, man. It's interesting. We kind of talked a little bit about it. Now it's time to talk with you guys. So I'm excited.
Yes, you're gonna hear our thoughts on it. I wrote a blog Sunday evening when Karrion, aka Robert Kevin Kelser, wrote. We saw that video come out on YouTube confirming about his exiting of the company and all that. And what I felt there, and I'm still feeling the same way. I had to ask this question to you, Wrestling Nation. Is this a work or a shoot? Now, we all know in this modern day era, Kayfabe is out the window. We all know with the documentary series WWE Unreal, they're peeling behind the current, although we think they're peeling behind the current. I had to ask this question, and I'm a little cynical because it feels like this is the new form of kayfabe, where it's no longer where you have to change to separate locker rooms. You don't have that babyface heel segregation that you had in the early 80s and the 90s. Also, that perception if you're in a bar and if you're not tough enough or people pick on you and you don't kick someone's ass, you leave the territory, you're kablash, or even out of the wrestling business. As the wrestling business or in everything evolves and changes, right now with the streaming deals and all how we consume wrestling and all that, is this the new way of the wrestling business putting over an angle with blurring the lines with some truth? Is this a kayfabe angle where maybe they're carrying, and I compare this a lot there. But before I even get there, your thoughts, let me give your thoughts here. I want to pause because I could keep going, but it's a two-way talk here. What's your thought with that? Do you feel like it could be a possible kayfabe new era for WWE?
Yeah, obviously, we're in a society now, obviously, where social media was sort of kind of a thing, right? In the 2000s, early days, with Twitter pages, VHX exchanges, MySpace, all that. But we're at the point now to where everybody in the world has a freaking podcast. So a lot of people could get information, could not. But the reality is they do. So none of the stuff, even without the Unreal stuff, it was not really a secret on how things are done, right? We know obviously scripted outcomes, gorilla positions. We know that. I kind of feel like, I don't want to go to the spiel on Unreal, but I kind of just feel like that was sort of to show us how it's done behind this. I don't really think it was meant for, I don't really think Unreal is, obviously they talked about the Cena turn and all that stuff, but I don't know if Unreal is really meant for us to know about the stories and all that. I kind of thought it was, or think still it's meant for to show us okay, Triple H and Bruce Pritchard, how does the producers communicate with the ref? How does the producers communicate with the talent? How does match stuff get shortened? How do you on the fly stuff? I kind of think that's what Unreal is. Again, but because the Seth Rollins thing kind of it changes a little bit of everything on how this new kayfabe, to your question, is kind of going. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we'll see about this on Unreal in the future, but this is sort of kind of maybe the new kayfabe, because everybody, you can talk about this stuff without talking about this stuff. People aren't scared. Karrion's not scared to write the day after his contract ends or he's not longer with the company. He'll go on Ariel, and he knows what Ariel Hawaii wants to do, right? Get that information, but they just have no problem. So it's none of this is a secret. So I think this might be the new kayfabe, to where wrestlers will go out because there's so much wrestling media. There's so much of us do what we do. I don't know if they want to work us. You know what I'm saying? So this could be sort of the new kayfabe to where it's like, we're going to let you in behind the scenes. It's a little opposite, but there still might be some things we don't
I'm gonna equivalent this to a TV show. 30 was it 30 Rock, where Alec Bowen, Tina Fey, Tracy Morgan. It was a show about them doing a Saturday Night Live type of show. They had the writers' room, but it was a comedy sketch about them putting on a show. I think could be where is it heading. It could be kind of like that. It could be that this is a show about a wrestling show. This is a show about how the wrestling show gets made, but they're going to show you what they want you to show you, and they're not going to give you really the whole enchilada. They're going to tell you this is this and this and that goes with it. They portrayed by actors. Like if you remember that 30 Rock show, they had actors portraying that guy head of security with that guy the blonde guy, and so forth. If you was a fan of the show, you understand what I'm talking about. I think it kind of feels that way. Certain things about, and listen, let's talk about Karrion Kross. If he's really out of the WWE. I'm trying to look at his career, and I was contemplating, thinking about it. When he returned to the WWE, he came in. Scarlett would come out, bring the hourglass, tell you your time was running out. When I'm looking at that, they never gave him a really good storyline to sink your teeth in. Is one of his feuds that I wanted to see, and maybe it sucked when Roman was world champion. They weren't going to take the title off for Roman Reigns when he was the tribal chief. Before he got his 1316 days, he came out. Scarlett put the hourglass there, and he kind of laughed at it. If you remember, and I wanted to pull the clip, I didn't have enough time. He kind of looked at it like, I ain't gonna wrestle with this bum. When you had Jimmy and Jey Uso before the bloodline split. And I was thinking about that. I'm not blaming Roman, but could Roman just went back to creative and says, I ain't working with this guy. Just put this guy from the street. I'm on a big road. 13, I'm this champion for so long, and you're gonna put him. I don't want to work with him. I'm not saying he did. This is not facts. Then creative says, shit, what are we gonna do with him? He kind of sputtered after that. After Karrion came on and put that on there in front of Roman, they didn't go to Roman and Karrion. They never went to it. They act like, okay, and that was rare in the Triple H era there, and that was when Triple H was just getting there, where everything counted, every little segment, everything was crossing they were dotting their I's, crossing their T's, everything made sense except for that. And I know Paul Heyman went on his way on Harani and say, this guy is getting over like a Stone Cold Steve Austin. Maybe he knows something, because he said something on Harani that Heyman has told him, and he doesn't want to tell Confidant because he was talked. He doesn't want to repeat what was told to him in Confidant, what they told him, encouragement, all that stuff. I'm not saying it's Roman's fault. Again, don't get me wrong. Maybe Roman didn't want to work with him, and then creative didn't know what the hell to do with him, and we're going to shove him here, and we'll think of something. And then he never got the ball rolling. When they say we got to get the ball rolling with Karrion Kross, what they do, they put him in with AOP. Another group that everybody was like, wait, where's AOP? I remember doing watch-alongs. Everybody was driving us bananas in that watch-along. AOP, they should come to the WWE. AOP finally arrived to the WWE. They didn't do anything with them. They didn't. And there was a point where Bubba Ray Dudley on Busted Open said on that WrestleMania 40, when Triple H was encouraging, getting in the face of AOP, show me something tonight. Obviously, they didn't show him enough, because they out of that match, we don't remember crap about AOP. More Bubba Ray is putting over himself for being the guest referee than the whole match, when they all teamed up. My point was AOP was a flop. There's, I don't know if Paul Ellering felt like a man out of his time. He's a man. It was one of the greatest tag teams, if you want to debate it, in the Legion of Doom, but he didn't work with AOP, with Karrion, Scarlett. It just didn't mismatch. He got himself over with the fans being real. They just didn't give him the opportunity. The Sami Zayn stuff was a tough one, because Sami Zayn is, no matter what you say, no matter if you like him or don't like him, he is the ultimate he chased the hugs so much. That's his nature. And it was tough to put a hug chaser and a Karrion Kross to work together in that program. You saw he talked about that promo in WrestleMania, after WrestleMania, about the suit. It was a work because he was trying to get himself over. He couldn't say it, he's ribbing us or working us. Your thoughts on that with his creative before we get into what we think is going on, our opinion.
His creative, I mean, yeah, obviously they haven't put him in a good spot. I obviously we know the guy in charge. Vince was in charge early on during when Kross, went to the main roster. He was strongly booked in NXT. I was a big fan of NXT. His feud with Adam Cole was great. Look how where those two guys are now, though, Bendito. But it's like he was booked so strong as the NXT champion, and then the main roster comes, and then I don't know if it was one of those situations where we talked about a couple months ago. We talked about this back in 2024, even, where it was like maybe it was one of those situations where they called him up too early and kind of stuck him in the main roster situation and kind of didn't know what to feed him. Because at that time, Roman was kind of like that guy at that time when or 2020, because he was in NXT 2020 2021. And then, I think the main was Seth. Like, I don't know where you would put him at that time on the main roster. He wasn't going to go with Brock. He wasn't going to go with Roman right away off, even though he was booked strong. I don't think the people running the main roster at that time saw or fit for him in any of those areas, right? With the big timers that were there during that time. I don't know if obviously what happened with COVID, I don't know if that hurt anything, but maybe with getting over in the crowd wise, because he did a lot of stuff over the pandemic. I know, he had that match with Hardy on Raw, right when fans were back, and it's like he didn't really get over. So it's like it's hard. I think the failed gimmicks, I think it's one of those things with like Bray, R.I.P. Bray. It was one of those things where maybe he had so much creative vision, and maybe he wanted to do things this way, and people would kind of take his ideas and kind of make it their own. And maybe Kross really wasn't feeling it, wasn't liking it. But then putting him with AOP just didn't help. And then him coming back now, I mean, I look, like you said, right? I am not a big Sami Zayn fan, but whether you like him or not, you can't have a bad match with Sami Zayn. You cannot not get over against Sami Zayn. Did he really go over, even with him losing to Sami Zayn? No, it kind of looked like Sami Zayn kicked his ass. I'll be honest. So I don't think they're booking him strong. I just don't think they are, because again, maybe it was the lack of character, because maybe he was kind of trying to do some cinematic stuff. Now we're seeing Killer Kross. We're seeing a little bit more of Kevin in this stuff, right? Where he goes on the mic and after WrestleMania press conference with Sam Roberts and cuts that promo, and like we saw some realism out of him. Maybe that was something that he needed, a different switch of a character. Maybe just needed to be himself. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if it was the characters he was giving, the opponents he was given, the groups that he was stuck with. I don't know. And then now this current run again, he got his opportunity with Sammy. I personally think he didn't do bad, but it's like he were really supposed to get over with Sammy and he didn't. So I don't know. The booking's been questionable.
Let me ask this. Refresh my memory. Chat. Thanks, Canary. Thanks for joining, and Jay for writing there.
Yeah, shout out to you guys. Thank you for joining us.
We're gonna address those. I have a couple things I want to about the Seth Rollins. I want to bring up as well. But let me ask this question. Maybe you guys tell me in the chat as well. Timeline wise, when Karrion Kross got brought up to the main roster, is that when NXT was getting trumped by AEW? The Black and Gold, was that the beginning of the end of the Black and Gold? Could it be why Vince McMahon's kind of punishment for losing to AEW, punishing the call-ups? Because when Karrion Kross came up, I believe he got that stupid mask. Keith Lee they didn't do crap with Lee. Adam Cole, he didn't see the luster. They all got pretty much released where he kind of trumped it. Could it be that was Vince trying to, like, you guys lost and I'm going to be vindictive towards this Black and Gold, and I'm not going to help them? Doesn't mean that I'm not saying that's the reason why it led to Karrion Kross. Now, maybe at that time, where maybe he had to go away and come back, because he did say on Ariel Helwani, come back home. And Karrion came running back home. Now I asked this second question. Now Karrion returns back to the WWE, and we saw this because we used to and Canary, that because we mentioned this on our watch alongs, because she was a big part when WWE was putting a lot of help wanted writers. WWE, and no one talks about this. WWE has gone through a lot of different writers in the Paul Levesque era, from Vince to now to currently right now. There's been a lot of change in different writers. Let me ask this question. Are they hiring writers that are not in touch, not with storylines, but with listening to what the fans' reaction to incorporate to the storylines? It kind of seems like that, because WWE has been in a lull period when not just Karrion Kross. You got podcasters like JD from New York complaining how wrestling has been shit. The Solid Monster saying it's been not good. Either that, but we all know sometimes they do that to fabricate negativity for people to watch. But there is some truth. Monday Night Raw a couple weeks ago was not that great. SmackDown hasn't been, hit or miss since they don't know. They wanted 3 hours, wasn't a big hit. They went down to 2 different writers. It feels like the writers want to do episodic television, but they're not in touch with the fans and what is resonating, what's hitting, and it's starting to show on the product.
So let me answer your first question, right? Actually, this is fresh. Yeah, it could be that they have some writers that really aren't out of touch, because again, we saw it kind of with the Unreal, right? Those guys, they with Pritchard, ¿cómo se llama? Con this hat?
Michael P.S. Hayes.
Michael Hayes. They're kind of old. They're old school dudes, man, and kind of Triple H to an extent, right? So, but your first point about Kross, AEW, NXT. So Kross, to my knowledge, he signed with NXT February of 2020. So AEW was already up and going. They started in October of 2019. And Karrion Kross, I think he beat Keith Lee for his first title. He got hurt the next day, had to vacate it. But the problem is, when he came back, he had the title strong. Like, he had it so strong. He beat Finn, and then he won a Fatal 4 match with the Undisputed Era with Gargano, whoever it was. And then I think he either beat Samoa Joe once, lost to Samoa Joe. Anyway, he was booked strong in NXT. And I don't know, because like I just said, like he went up, he lost right away. I don't know, because AEW was hot at that time. I know you brought that up, but like it was hot at that time. They were on Tuesdays. They were competing with NXT at one point, or whatever day they were on. Wednesday they were, because NXT was on Wednesdays. Yeah, that's what it was. I was getting it backwards. They were competing against each other. So, I mean, it's tough. Like, I don't know. Like, again, Charlotte or Scarlett, he performed without her a couple times. And I don't know. He was kind of made a joke. Like, his character was kind of made a joke when he went up after being booked so strong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm a little bit maybe on with you or Canary or whatever, when it's kind of the writers. I don't think they knew what to do with him, because again, it could have been one of those things where they called him up too soon. You can't call this guy up and then have think about this. He made his main roster debut against Jeff Hardy, and he lost in 2 minutes. That's not how you debut. When Adam Cole got debuted on the main roster when he was NXT champion, he was booked like a star. He didn't win, but they put him in a 10-minute match against Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan on SmackDown, and the following Monday or the Monday after, he had a really, really strong 7 to 9 minute match with Seth Rollins, and they made Adam Cole look great. So I think it was just picking and choosing who they wanted to make look good, because they made Adam Cole look phenomenal in that NXT, because that was during the time Survivor Series was doing the NXT invasion, and they made Adam Cole look like a fucking star because he was their champion, and they did not give Kross that same treatment. Because I remember that, because like I said, like everyone knows, I'm a big black and gold fan. I remember that clearly, because I said that should have been Kross. I didn't at the time. I didn't say that. Now that I'm thinking about it and talking it with you and with the guys, I think that should have been Kross. doing the invasion, getting the NXT title and having that. Because again, it's picking and choosing. They made Gargano look absolutely strong. You're gonna tell me back in that time, I know Gargano was a hell of a wrestler. He was the shit in NXT, but you're gonna tell me long-term character-wise, you're gonna tell me he deserved a better push than Karrion? Where he's at right now, from where he wasn't at, like the role should have been reversed. Like I don't know. They picked and choose. I think that the previous administration, and unfortunately, I don't think he could have bounced back for that, because when he came back, and I'm sorry to yap, but when he came back in 2022, what did he really do?
That was my point. That was my point, Chris. When he came back, he burst on the scene. We're like, oh damn, that's pretty cool. His intro, the black and white. She bought it. That was cool. His first feud was
good. We talked about it with AOP. Like, he didn't do shit. Like,
no, before putting in AOP, it was cool.
Yes.
But then it got kind of like back to Roman's body language, and reminded us, you're just that guy in that helmet. When he dismissed it, and I remember Terrence laughed his ass off because, like, yeah, you're gonna touch the tribal chief, and we tend to agree with them at the moment, because when Roman did that gesture, we thought about him in that stupid goofy mask, and it hurt. And to me, I kind of heard his return back. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, the Triple H hires coming back in 2022. I'm gonna totally be. I did not like that presentation. And look, we're hoping to get AJ Francis on our channel to have a conversation for TNA in the near future. But his return along with Hit Row did not hit. That was like, who that? I felt like Booker T when he saw the Shockmaster coming through that wall. Who the F is these people? I'm like their presentation looked very And look, we all know now that Ashani Adonis is no longer with the company. Top Dollar Cage, AJ Francis no longer with the company. He's doing much better in TNA. Better opportunities for them, and I think Ashanti is going to do great if he goes and part of the first class organization there in TNA, part of first class group with AJ. BFAB, I'm a little worried because I don't see them using her much. It's just got a little complicated. Also, the Damage Control was great, but there was a lot of people online, excluding Busted Open, that was complaining about Damage Control. I don't feel them. I don't like them. And meanwhile, Damage Control is one of the hottest thing there, but Dakota Kai isn't, because people couldn't have that open mind to let it breathe, let her get her time. Now, Dakota didn't help herself getting injured herself, getting injured opportunity times. Again, all those hires that Triple H brought back from his past the one that panned out. Raquel Rodriguez, I thought Dakota Kai was going to kill it, because I thought, if you see Dakota Kai in the NXT, she was freaking phenomenal with Raquel Gonzalez, aka Rodriguez. I thought they were going to do a monster. Io Sky's return, or bringing up to the main roster before she exited the company, was a big saving grace. Look at Io, one of the top women's wrestler. With Karrion, to get back to Karrion, he pitched. Listen, I was at the Performance Center going to the 2.0 days when I was on the latter part, when I used to see the Righteous try out and go to the Performance Center. They would sit in the hard camera side, on the well side, on the other side, where you're not seen. They will watch the show. They were there maybe a couple Tuesdays in a row before signing their ROH deal. I remember saying hello to them before I went into the arena. I said, "Hey, what's going on?" And they said hello, and I thought they were going to be signed. And I know what Karrion said, that was going to be some truth to having the Righteous join Karrion, because they brought him to NXT, and I saw them there. I don't know where was the disconnect with the creative or whatever the case was, but I know Karrion was telling some truth. He wanted to boo the Fasten, and then they put him with AOP. Someone thought a wild goose hair. No, let's put AOP with them instead of the Righteous. Would it have worked? I don't know. Easy to say that now because of what we are currently today for Karrion and Scarlett. Going forward now, when this news occurred and happened, I quickly, before he says his contract is up, as soon as his contract up, and I put this tweet up on X about there's some similarities. Don't be surprised that Karrion Kross has a contract, but they're telling him, your contract, we're gonna, it's expired. Go do your book tours. He has a movie. He's going to a film festival today in New York City. He has another one coming up, and some other dates. Go take care and handle that with your book tour. Go do the movie reviews and your movie um, premieres and all that good stuff. Then we're gonna bring you back as Killer Kross. We're gonna play it into the storylines, and we're golf and moving. Now, I put that tweet there. Oh, don't you compare it to Becky Lynch, people. No way, no how. He's gonna be Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is an accomplished world champion, but Becky Lynch worked on that book tour with no contract. I remember all you people spending your nights making the All Elite graphics. Rebecca Quinn, All Elite. Remember that? Oh, she's gonna show up and confront Mercedes and all that stuff. No, she was always going to the WWE. Could this be the same thing with Karrion Kross? Take some time off, go do your book tour, go do all the other stuff, go do that, and then we're gonna bring you back as a surprise either at Survivor Series. I don't know if they could do it at the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble would be the ideal spot to bring Karrion Kross back. Simple. Remember, Becky Lynch came back in the first Netflix series. Boom, off and going. She was back. I don't know if they could do it in Saudi Arabia because you have to register. You have to be told when you're entering the country with all these dirt sheets that they will want to. They'll spoil the surprise of Karrion being an entry at the Rumble. It'll be surprised. It'll be ruined. This is where the international shows hurt the WWE with the surprises. Circumventing. I don't know, because of customs. You gotta report and once that name comes up on customs, the dirt sheets are going to know and they're going to report it right away. It's going to be spoiled. They can't have you be surprised for about 1 day. They got to be the first ones to report it. Oh, I knew it. I had it first. So to me, I think that's what it is, because what he mentioned in Ariel Helwani, he didn't say anything negative about the WWE. He doesn't want to leave the WWE. But I did tell you this, Chris. What if they told him, we don't see Scarlett in your future. We want to book you. We want to push you. It's going to be you as a single act, because the Miss Elizabeth type of managerial role is antique. Is not working because she doesn't really get involved, but just the hourglass and just hands over a pipe once in a while. There's no physicality with Scarlett, although we don't want to see that, or at least a grabbing of the leg. That she hasn't getting much involved in the outcomes of Karrion's matches. So maybe that's, and if he's holding back, not signing the contract at the moment because he wants, and he's with his wife, good for him. I'm not going to get mad if I'm not coming back here if you don't want me and my wife. It's both of us. I get it. You are one with your spouse.
Oh, okay, yeah. So sorry, I didn't know if you're gonna keep going after that one.
No. I let you go because I don't want to go too long.
I agree. I didn't have much to add, but I had a couple things I wanted to not rebuttal, but add on and what so forth. So first thing I wanted, stood by his wife. You just brought that up. I was going to bring that up as well. There is I guess he pretty much flat out said they offered him something that 24 hours, and I guess it didn't have his wife in it. Because when it comes to finance, obviously these wrestlers want their money and they're obviously, they want more pay and all that stuff. But, Karrion, to me, obviously, he has his book out. He has so much other endeavors that he can rely on with acting and all, being an author now. I think the money isn't that. I think he would rather have his wife than get a much more bag without her. I think that plays it apart because he could realistically do the indies as Scarlett and Karrion, probably make the same amount of money, if not, a little more, and be happy and being able to do what he wants. But I think he wants to be in WWE. Now, the ultimate question: do I think it's a work or shoot? That's a good question. A lot of the things, his kind of where do I kind of start with? Like him talking about the Seth Rollins and R-Truth stuff. Fans don't know what's a work or a shoot anymore. What's that supposed to mean? He talked about no promotion. He said no, big promotions have reached out to him, but AEW, some big indie promotions, but AEW and other bigger promotions haven't reached out because they don't think it's a work. They think it's a work. When you're a free agent, bud, Karrion Kross has made it publicly clear that he is a free agent, that all this stuff. Why would AEW not? Hey, I hear reports online, whatever. You're not contract tampering. They're not going to make him an offer. It's strictly, hey, this is the rumor going out right now. Is it true? Yes or no? And if I refuse to believe that that's not the case. If I'm an AEW higher up, I'm telling if I'm Tony, yo, what's Kevin's number? I want to at least have a conversation. Hey, are you can you come work for me or not? And if he says yes, I can, not like I will, but I can, that's when I don't know, something in me doesn't believe that he didn't have any whatever. Now, this is the one that kind of hits weird for me, Kev.
Okay.
And I said this to Kev. I'm going to make this little comparison, but he said that he wants to have a conversation with Triple H. Ariel Hawaii asked him, why didn't you just talk to Triple H? There's a guy doing the communication for both of us. So he said he wants to have a communicate, but he has to go through this guy. Now, Triple H wants to have a talk, but it's just this one guy between us. Now, Karrion Kross says he has a good relationship with Triple H. Obviously, I believe that. He brought him back. I'm sure they've had plenty of conversations on the phone, whatever. I'm pretty sure, like he is with Gargano and Candice, right? I'm sure he loves Scarlett and Karrion. But if it is this one guy that's in the way, and this is where I think it could be maybe a little bit, this is where I don't know if it's kind of a work or shoot, because work, you're going to tell, no, I'm going straight to you. If me and Kev's the founder, Kev built this shit. This is his. I'm on his stuff. If he tells me or whatever, there's an issue, and I want to be able to go to him. I don't want a middleman, whoever it is, to be. I won't know. I have a good relationship with you. Let's talk about this is what it feels like to me. I refuse to believe that's the case. But that could be a case because, WWE is a corporation. Triple H has a lot of stuff to deal with. Who knows if he really deals with? I know a lot of people want to say he does, he doesn't. Let's be honest. Who really knows if Triple H deals with the contracts, the negotiations, the money? I'm sure he's there and I'm sure he has an input, but how do we know, at least I don't, that he has the final say in all this? Maybe that middleman is somebody that, maybe has a little more power than Triple H, and essentially, maybe that could be who that middleman is, bro. That's why he said middleman. He's obviously not going to say specifics, but it's like that middleman has to be Nick Khan or somebody that has an equal, if not more, power than Triple H, which essentially Nick Khan, he does. He's the best damn hire that company's made in a long time, business-wise. He's the best hire. Oh my God. So it probably is. But you know what I mean? That's why I don't know if it's work or shoot, because two things could be possible. It's tough because obviously I'm not going to sit here and say him saying, if you don't sign my wife with, I don't think that's a work, or like you said, or a shoot, like you said, right? When you're married, you're a package deal. I respect him totally if that's the case. That could be a case because, like I just mentioned, with all of his other endeavors. So, to answer the question, work or shoot, I'm just going to be straight up. I have no idea. I don't know, and they put me in a good place with it. If I would, some of the things are a little bit sketchy, like fishy. But again, the reason why I don't believe it is because one part of me is like WWE, especially the business side of things. I'm sure they'd be a little more professional and handle this, especially with Karrion being over. But a part of me is like, what, this new ownership, all this other stuff that's going on. This, do you hear me? Does that make sense? Like,
no, I'm understanding. I'm understanding what you're saying.
Like, I don't want to be that guy that's like, I don't know, but it's like I just get like all those reasons. Like, I generally don't. Like, it's hard to like.
But yeah. let's indulge this argument. Let's say it's Nick Khan with the middleman, that like you said, the great negotiator to bring the money. One of the greatest acquisition Vince McMahon has done in the modern era here after Hulk Hogan, with all the billions of dollars that he's brought into the WWE. Let's say it is Nick Khan. Here's one thing that I'm finding a little bit of a disconnect. When Karrion Kross talked with Ariel Helwani, And Karrion said, you know what? I want to see what, they put an offer. He said that he had a contract offer, the 24-hour famous offer. The money was okay, but he wanted to see metrics. He wanted some analytics numbers on what he could possibly draw, how they got that through that number. He didn't feel slighted or disrespected for the money that was given. It wasn't a slouchy offer. He just wanted to find, how did you come up with this number? What analytics, what metrics did you use? And to the fact that they did not provide him with that, like they say that they couldn't give it to him, I find it bullshit, because they just finished signing a couple mega deals for ESPN, moving their PLE to from Peacock. Now the library might be up, and there's more negotiation, more money for the WWE to have it made. The NXT PLEs might be up in the air somewhere else. They're negotiating, they're willing and dealing, and you don't tell me those son of a guns are not using analytics and numbers and metrics, and they couldn't provide that for Kross. You're gonna tell me that they didn't even give him an analytics, a metric about his merchandise, how much money he's making in the merchandise? They knew our Killings was doing good because they pulled that T-shirt off the air as soon as they released them. So to me, this is where I think it's a work. This is where there's a lot of it. To even reminds me of we are the Sports Jedi Network, so I'm always, people like to copy the Star Wars analogy, and of course, I name a whole channel after it. So Bubba Ray, have at it, steal some more shit from me like you do. Is when Kylo Ray is going that conflict between the dark and the light, when he kills Han Solo and he's in the light and then the darkness comes. This is where I get the shoot and the work. The shoot and the work. Because he throws some stuff like, damn, this is a work. Then he goes, damn, he throws some real life. They're blurring the lines, which is not a bad thing, because that's what they want us to do. You know what? Some people complain, oh, WWE is very predictable. Oh yeah, I know they're gonna end Monday Night Raw with Seth, the Vision on top, kicking their ass each and every week. Predictability. But when they don't give you predictability, they get upset with Brock Lesnar. So which one is it? Is it you want to be you want to be surprised, or do you want to be predicted and say, oh, this was so predictable? So I think WWE is trying to do their best to persuade us on what's real, what's not real. Is it a work? Is it a shoot? Blah, 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 and all that stuff. Me, I still think it's a work. I don't think Karrion Kross is going anywhere. To me, once that book tour, all that stuff, is going to be just like Becky Lynch, because they're borrowing things from Seth Rollins, the injury. Seth Rollins said we thought he was in. He went on Rich Eisen. He went on Rich Eisen. Why would they waste a credible sports podcast or tell a show and Rollins go out there and say he's injured, and then a couple weeks later he's not?
And if you actually watched it, the co-host of the Rich Eisen show, and I don't want to get into this spiel, but this is how like this was like so genuine. He was like, I mean, are you good? Like, I don't want to talk about the match, like, because they were going into some football stuff, getting ready for the Bears, and he's like, are you good? Like, how's your knee? He's like, yeah, I'm all right. I gotta get some, like, it was like, okay, like I was watching it live. I was like, oh, cool. Seth's giving an update on his worked the complete. And then they went on the next day. Oh, you worked me. Oh, like they went back at it when he went back on. So like, yeah, like I agree. I wouldn't be surprised if either or, but I'm not with the whole Seth Rollins thing that's came out. I'm not. I wouldn't.
They even went to Birmingham and had him go see that famous Dr. Andrews to check his knee out. Could they have just done it as a precautionary, pay the doctor's time to check his knee? But HIPAA laws, you cannot disclose the injury. The doctors can't say it to the dirt sheet. HIPAA laws, you can't. Gotta keep quiet. But they went and they went and they played the part. They went to the doctor. They went to the right surgeon where you go. So many. That's where Charlotte got her knee done. They did everything to the book, to the T. Now with Karrion, they're doing this with the T. Where did it go to? Ariel Helwani. He's hosted WWE events. Have been there. You've seen, he's done hosted events there. So Ariel Helwani, credible interview. I found it weird too, because Busted Open has been reaching out for him to come on. Karrion has been on plenty of times and Busted Open to talk. This time around, he's ghosting them. He's in New York City too. They asked him, they reached out. He didn't even go, he didn't even mention, which Pro Wrestling Nation has just launched 24 hours show, and they're hot right now. They got the coach, they got all these X personalities on. You're telling me through their contacts they couldn't get Karrion Kross? Ariel Helwani did. So it was interesting that they put him on Ariel, not on Fight Nation. So maybe because some of these ex wrestlers could see the bullshit or see if it's a work and shoot, and they don't want to. Coach has been very vocal on criticizing the product, and rightfully so. That's his opinion. He should speak his opinion. I don't know. Sam Roberts won't, because Sam Roberts wants to keep employed with the WWE. He's gonna tippy toe. He's gonna say blur little things. But LaGreca will play the fence, and at the moment in face to face he'll play, and then behind your back he'll be passive aggressive. That's his nature. That's his nature. That's his style. But Bubba, he works for LFG. Does he really want to mess up a nice little? He says he will tell you he doesn't give a crap. But come on, he's bringing a little extra income in LFG. I don't know if he'll say nothing. So I understand why he didn't go. They didn't go to Pro Wrestling Nation on any of those shows that's there.
Because
I can see why he went to Hawaii.
I can see why he went to Hawaii, because obviously it's no secret. Like, if you're a sports, me and Kev, we're not just wrestling fans. We know other things, right? Area Hawaii, his content, it's not like Busted Open where they just have wrestlers. Like, Area Hawaii's more, he's MMA. He has his guys, like if you watch his podcast, like sometimes, like his boys don't know shit about wrestling. Like Ariel's, that they all rely on Ariel to tell, and even him, he's not like the journalist. He doesn't care about that. He cares more about MMA, PFL, all that other stuff. So it's like, you think with him going on Busted Open, he's there with Tommy or whoever it is, right? Like, everybody there's veterans, they're in the business. Like, I feel like he could work us going on Ariel. Because even Ariel's like, I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't want to ask the wrong question, but I have to ask. Like, Ariel knows how to like ask but he's like, he doesn't know. Like, you can see it, because he's like, I don't want to be disrespectful. Like, I don't know, because I don't know if it's a work or shoot. Like, I even hate asking that question. Like, you saw it, you watched it. Like, that's what he was doing. So it's like, a part of me does, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the perfect place to go on. Just like Rich Eisen. You really think Rich Eisen or his co-hosts are going to know anything? They're not. They're casual wrestling fans, or they're wrestling fans that don't give a shit about the podcasting or the Busted Open, type of podcasting. So I think him going on Busted Open, I think they could get something out of him that maybe he doesn't want to get out of. So, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
No, I made sense. We just got, I'll at the end of the show, I'll make sure I show you. We had an email. We're being considered to have Kross. He says his people said we'll get back to him. We mentioned, hopefully, I don't know if it's, I hope I'm not getting ribbed. I did reach out via the book for ECW book publishing to talk about his book. Life is a work. Like, what's it called? Oh goodness, I just drew a blank. Life is a fight. Excuse me. Sorry, Karrion.
Number one sports selling book right now on Amazon and sports autobiography.
And isn't that what he's doing right now? He's fighting for his life, his livelihood of a wrestler, of a WWE wrestler. He's fighting for his life because if it's true, part of the kayfabe, or that they're not offering Scarlett a contract. Life is a fight. Life is fighting. He's fighting for his wife to get a second contract with him. He's not leaving his wife behind. So he's fighting the corporate puppets of WWE with the fans' support. That's also part of the work shoot. So we reached out to the publicist, to the book. We got an email set in right as we speaking, because he did mention it on Hawaii, that he has a shitload of emails from his bookings, and they are going through so many. So we know we have had TNA President Carlos Silva on the show, Mike Santana, Nick Nemeth, Janai Kai. We have had many of the wrestling industry on our program. We just sent it, we did that. I did that on Sunday, and we get one back here. Funny how we are not now live speaking about it, and now we got a response. We were talking about, I was telling Chris creatively, like, I've been reaching out, I haven't had any email contact from any of the major companies, and we just got that from him. Triple H needs to go. His creative team has made the product stale. I think it's the writers. I think Triple H books and makes the direction that they're going to go with. I think he tries to make the best out of his writers. We were talking about that, Delano, that they've been changing the writers over and over. We even joked about it, when we would just, shoot about creative stuff, or I should be a writer, you know, on our watch alongs. And we see that WWE has put a lot of wanted writers. They've been hiring a lot of writers. I think they got a lot of writers who they bring in from Hollywood, but they don't know the wrestling product or listen to the audience or what's resonating, what's getting over, what the crowd wants. And they got a lot of writers who are a little tone deaf to the people. You know, it might make sense to them on pen and paper, but you also got to have that discernment where would it work with a wrestling crowd in 2025, you know, and so forth. I think, you know, his creative team hasn't done him any justice to Paul Levesque, but he's the head. He's the face of the creative of talent. So you're right. You're with that statement. You could feel that exact statement for Triple H. Personally, I like Triple H where he's at, but man, yes. Yeah, hopefully we get him on. Hopefully. Let's go. Hopefully. Karrion, Kevin, let's go. From one Kevin to another Kevin, man.
We're ready for you.
We're ready,
for
man.
you. Let's
Come
go.
on, talk. We want to know about the book. We want to know, you know, what's next. Whatever happened in the past, you know, you could see our past interviews. We don't get personal. That's not us. We're not dirt sheets. We want to know. We want to talk about your journey. We want to talk about your journey, like we did with Mike and Mr. Silver and others. So hopefully, you know, let's cross our fingers there. So Chris, let's get back with this here to this, but we'll wrap up. Let's say
I don't know what
next
else
WrestleMania, is he in the company? Bottom line.
Yeah,
I think so too. It's going to be in Vegas. He cut his teeth in Vegas.
Yep.
He's cut his teeth. He cut his teeth in Vegas. He's from, you know, he lives in Orlando, Florida, like myself.
I'm not gonna give a bullshit answer. I'm not gonna say it depends. No, I'm gonna for the fuck of it. I'm gonna say yes. That's a very good reason. He was. This is a redemption story. I think he could make us miss him, get a great pop, figure out what to do with him, and then, like you said, finally have his WrestleMania, right? Because he wanted to. He said it. He doesn't get on the card or the place where he carved his teeth in the business. So my final thoughts would just be, I agree. I agree. You know, I'm kind of still, again, either or. I'm still kind of on. You know, it could be a work, could be a shoe. I gave a bunch of reasons why. Hopefully, you know, if you're just tuning in, please go replay it and check out all of our thoughts on that. But it's a tough one, but I'm more on the side. If I had to pick a genuine side, I would side with Kev on this. And I think he would get a big pop in his hometown in Vegas. So, yes, to answer your question.
Here's another thing. Let me highlight Jay's comment real quick because for a reason they don't come synchronized and I want to make sure I get that there. I think he will be in the company by Mania 42 next year. He'll definitely be there. All right. Here's another thing. Food for thought. Final couple thoughts here. Let me read this. I think WWE actually, but two things needed. The fans need to hear on camera and better booking and push. Yes, the fact that they didn't get that we want Kross on Quebec was hurted him. What's going on, John? Christopher Denver in the building. My
TNA guy. What's up, Christopher?
Salute. What hurted him? Quebec didn't have we want Kross chant like we want Ron or we want Truth. They were very quiet. I know that one guy from New York City drove to Quebec with the sign. I think he got on Busted Open. He got over for going there. He tried to get the rally of the chants. Nobody wanted a chant for Karrion in Quebec. I don't know if it's true or not. Signs were confiscated, but I did see some signs, a few on Monday Night Raw. We want Kross. So two of them, I don't know if it got slipped through the cracks. We'll find out in Boston for SmackDown. If that happens, we shall see if that goes on. Here's one thing, food for thought. I think it's similarity with Becky Lynch situation. Yep. Also, what is everyone talking about WWE right now besides the money lucrative deal and you're not talking about the negative about the $29.99 right now, right? You're not talking about, oh my God, it's gonna cost me so much money to go WWE product. Also, what are we not talking about right now? But we're talking about Karrion and Scarlett. We're not talking about Brock Lesnar returning back to the company with all the dislike that they have with the Janelle Grant situation, how they bring, he has not been acquitted or not accused of anything criminally wise. The fact that he wanted to see a video of a woman urinating, that's another story. Morally of the story, or he's a pig, whatever the case was, and they were offering him whatever the situation, disgusting allegations. We're not talking about it though. We're talking about Karrion Kross.
I agree.
And what's going to happen in Clash of the at Paris and all that stuff. We're not talking about Brock right now. Brock is out of the mind right now because everything is Karrion right now. And then and we want Karrion. That's what they want. He's back in the company. He slid underneath the mat or went through the back door, and now he's in the company. That's exactly what happened. There you go. Do you think in every company had a 4-hour weekly show, 2 hours of casual stuff, another 2 hours keep what's going on and move wrestling to Rumble? Hold on. Did you understand? I didn't understand that. Well, let me read that again.
I don't think every company had a 4-hour weekly show, 2 hours of casual stuff, another 2 hours. Do y'all think if every company had 4 hours weekly wrestling show, 2 hours of casual stuff? I don't know. I'm sorry, Chris. I don't know how to answer that question.
It's funny that this is off topic. Monday Night Raw, if you remember that watch along, and I blurted out, I said it's none of our business, but I think Naomi might be pregnant. If they pulled her off last second, and it's on the playback, when Monday Night Raw, when they announced that she's out without a disclosed injury, I said, what injury? I didn't see her get injured. I think Transformers in our chat said it was a leg injury, and I go, nah, if it was a leg injury, they would have showed it or in a match. She has had a match. That would happen in SummerSlam. To me, I think there could be they're waiting for results when it comes to pregnancy, and I I'm not trying to take credit, but I kind of said that might be out in the air. That might be an issue. Jimmy did not proceed with caution. No yeet. If that's the case, if it's a work, this will have to be one of the slow burning stories, and that's what here's a Canary. It is going to be. Because that book tour is probably going to take them until Halloween. What comes up after Halloween is usually the Perth show or around there. I don't know. He's not going to go to Australia. They're not going to sneak. They won't be able to sneak him into Australia. Again, customs. You can't. You got to report that name. Those names come up. They're government names. Like they have no problem telling us that in the Unreal. The dirt sheets will have it. They'll have people in those custom agents with a payoff. As soon as these names come up, boom, and we want to report it, and they're going to spoil it. It could be San Diego for Survivor Series, the way Punk came back. Heyman called this guy the next Stone Cold Steve Austin. Ariel Helwani said the voice of the voiceless, a little CM Punk reference. Could he, you never know. Helwani could be in on it as well. We'll do the interview and we'll ask you this and that, and maybe he knows. And although if he spilled the beans, man, he'll really burn TKO bridges. He's already on Dana White shit list. Just imagine if he goes and burns it out there. I mean, because it feels weird. No, here's another thing, and we could. Yesterday alone, Helwani was on Impulsive with Logan Paul. Helwani got interviewed, and there was like a little. I mean, we'll do you a favor. Come on, Impulsive. We'll give you Karrion Kross. We'll part of it, and we'll think. I mean, you never know. You never know. In the world where everyone, what was Karrion Kross's greatest T-shirt? The puppets, the pulling the strings. Remember that, all those things there, pulling the strings. He could be pulling the strings on us. He could pulling the strings. Only time will tell if this is a work or a shoot. And we're here. We're here to react. We're here to listen. And this is what brings the spirited debate as in a wrestling community. No one is going to be right or wrong. If you have your opinion on what you think it is, doesn't mean you're wrong. That's your opinion. We're seeing it. We'll debate about it. We'll have a conversation about it. No one's right or wrong. And I love about at least our community. No one's disrespectful of one another for having a difference of opinion. Let's keep that mindset, wrestling community. If someone has a different of opinion, we don't need to be disrespectful or hateful towards their different way of thinking. Just have a debate. Agree to disagree. Simple. And I love that we don't have that here. Thank goodness. But you see that online on X. People, I disagree with you. I respectfully disagree with you, and then you make your point and move on. If he wants to rebuttal, he rebuttals. If he doesn't, he doesn't. You don't even have to rely into the block button or insult your audience that they don't know what they're talking about. So you could learn a lot from a little bit of humility and a little bit of the green diplomacy. I botched that word. Um, Chris, give me your final thoughts. We're getting out of here.
Yeah. My final thoughts. Like I said, like Kev says, like not like I said, like Kev said, time will tell. Time will tell. But he definitely has us talking. In the Ariel interview, spice things up a little bit. At the end of the day, there's a lot of things that indicate kind of both work and shoot. So I think we're just gonna be surprised, and I think it's gonna be one of those things that if they pull it off great with like the Seth Rollins situation, I might like that. I like that because it gets us talking, gets the dirt sheets talking, but it really gets us to the point where we don't know. So that's all I got. This was a good hour conversation. I liked it because again, there's so much that came out of that interview today that has questions, whether it's a work or shoot, and we got to talk about that. So that was great. That was great.
Yes.
But again, time will tell.
And if you're WWE, you love it because we keep trending and the company keeps trending and soaring. So if you want to continue to support Karrion and the hashtag We Want Kross, We Want Scarlett, also buy their merchandise. And of course, we could keep the conversation going. Follow us on X at Sports Jedi Media or at PGA Chris TV. Follow us or check it out. Or we have now writing some more blogs, so you can find my blog as well. Its video description is there. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. If we do have that, we will be promoting the crap out of it. If we are blessed with the chance to speak with Mr. Karrion Kross or even Scarlett, both, we will definitely hit that notification. We will promote the crap out of it. Trust us. We're hoping. Look, anything can happen. No one thought we were gonna have TNA president on our channel, and we have. We didn't thought we were gonna get our man Santana. We did. So never underestimate the power of the Sports Jedi Network. We'll see you later, and may the sports be with you.